Ever wondered how applications like Notion, Figma, Google Docs allow multiple users to work on the same document without conflicts? In this video, I will show you how I've implemented the same real-time collaboration feature using YJS. Here, I have a React Native application that I've scaffolded using the AI agents that we built in the earlier videos in the series. I'll head over to the Collaborators tab and I'll toggle on the Collaborators switch. And here I have the workspace code. So this is the code that I can share with whoever I want to have access to this workspace. I found a way to get the application to run on a web browser. And so I'm going to use Firefox as my collaborator, while the desktop application is going to be the host application. All right, so here we have the Mozilla Firefox browser on the right side of the screen and the desktop application on the left side of the screen. So I'm going to copy the workspace code and paste it here. And then click on join. So you can see I have a request from Max. So Max is the collaborator connecting from the Firefox browser. So I'm going to accept the request. And immediately the file content here, the project content, has been copied over to the Firefox browser. You can see Max is the one here and I am the one on this side. Let's say we want to work on a file together. So let's say we want to work on index.tss file. So open index.tss file. Then I'll come in here and I'll open index.tss file. So immediately you can see I'm seeing the cursor from Max, and he's seeing the cursor, my cursor position here on his end. So let's say on this end, I decide to type. You can see in real time, whatever I'm doing on my end is synced with the file on his end. So let's say he wants to type as well. You can see. All right, so here's the basic architecture of the feature. I have an HTTP server that has two WebSocket implementation mounted. So on the HTTP server, I have the control plane, the control WebSocket server, and I have the YJS WebSocket server. YJS is a library that I'm using to handle collaboration and syncing of files. Why the control WebSocket server is what I use to scaffold the application on the collaborator's end and also to manage access control. Let me show you the socket server implementation. Here in the socket folder, I go to index.ts. You can see in here, we are creating an HTTP server. And then here we have the two WebSocket servers. So the control WebSocket server and the YJS WebSocket server. Now, on the HTTP server, you can see we check the path, and if the path starts with YJS, we route the request to the YJS server and then handle the connection event here and call setup WebSocket connection. So this function is from YJS. So you can see Y WebSocket. So they give us this setup WebSocket connection. They handle the connection and the setup and everything for you. So they also give us the set persistence. So this set persistence is the function that we use to set up YLevelDB, which is the store that YJS uses to handle file sync. Also, you can see there's a reference to this data folder here. So that's the folder in here where we have all the logs from the YLevelDB interaction. Because I need to manage access and I need to scaffold the application on the collaborator's end, I am manually handling whatever is happening inside control WebSocket server. So in here, control WebSocket server, you can see on connection, once we set up the connection, I send an event of connected back to whoever is making the connection, and then open the listener for messages, right? on message, once we receive any message event, we have this message handler. It's the handler that we use to process all the message types that we receive. So you can see room open, room knock, room accept, room decline, room kick, room close. So all the helper functions in here. You can see all of them. Right, so that's the handle message. Let me show you the front end part of the implementation. All right, so we'll go to app and we'll go to SRC. We go to store, collab, index.ts. So here's the collab store. And I want to show you this function here, enable. So enable is the function that I call when you toggle on the collaborator switch. So when you toggle on the switch, we're passing the workspace code, the username, and the color for the host. And then we call this open socket function. So in here, we set up the connection to the control WebSocket server. And then once that connection is opened, we send a message of type room open, and we send our workspace code, our username, and the color. And then the control WebSocket server uses our workspace code to create a room. And then after creating the room, it sends room opened message type back to us. And so we receive the message here and then call this handle message helper function to treat that message type. So you see room opened. So once we receive room opened, then we connect YJS. Let me show you the flow for when a collaborator is trying to join a workspace. When he provides the workspace code and selects a color on the join workspace screen, we call this function from the use collab store. We call this function and then we set intent of knock, and then we call the open socket helper function. Here in the open socket function, because we have intent as knock, we call this send control helper function with this payload, with this message. So we are sending a message of type room knock. And then the host gets a message of an incoming request. So let me show you that. So here you can see room incoming. So he will get the request information, the username, and this is the username that I used to prepare that request dialog to accept or decline. So when the host accepts the request, let me show you what happens. When the host accepts the request, then we'll call this function. You can see we're passing the request ID, we call this function, and then we send a message of type room accept. I want you to notice something, the snapshots, right? I get a current project from our main store where we have the file tree and the project information. I get that, and then I stringify it and send it to the collaborator. So on the collaborator's end, so first I send the room accept to the control WebSocket server, and then the control WebSocket server then sends room accepted. So let me show you. So room accepted, that's what you have here. So you have room accepted. So in here, we pass the message that we stringified and then set it to the collaborator store. So this is what I'm doing here, calling the function, pass the project to it, and then so the collaborator will have a snapshot of the same store, of the same current project that the host has. And then after I connect him to YJS, and so he will be connected to the same workspace on the YJS server that the host is connected to. That was the simple flow of events for the collaboration feature. In our next video, I'll show you how to build the application for production. If you found value in this video, do like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.